You're listening to the B4evaKool podcast. My name is Rex45.
My name is TJ with Two Wheels and Coffee.
What's going on, man? How's the week been?
Oh, it's been a busy one, and it's an early one right now, but the week's been going good, and we made it past Wednesday, and now it's all racing. So
That's all. Yeah.
it's gonna be a big week of racing. Can't wait. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Absolutely. Um, Before we jump into all that, I mean, might as well talk about my race weekend. So, which is, it's interesting. It's my first time I going to the New Orleans Raceway or Speedway. They call it NOLA. And one, the drive was ridiculous. It took what should have taken, the whole drive should have taken about 11 hours, and I kind of broke it up into 2 days. But my second day, I had like maybe 5 hours to go, but the amount of traffic that I sat through, it took like 12 hours. So it was a pretty long day to get there. I knew it was going to be a race week, a rain race, but I did. So the cool thing about the Pan American Series, they do all their practice sessions on Saturday and they're qualifying on Saturday. Because of the weather, though, and then all the races are on Sunday. But because of weather, they try to get as many races in on Saturday because we didn't know what Sunday was going to look like. So that was a little different. It's one of those things now. I'm kind of getting better at learning tracks quicker. So that took so it probably took me by the third session. I felt fairly good. There's probably one turn that was jacking me up, still jacking me up in the race, and so it wasn't too bad. We did qualifying. I qualified sixth overall on the grid, so not too bad. There was some faster guys out there. Faster by I think by qualifying time, probably like 6 seconds. So I didn't know what to expect by the time the race came around. And the first race is a Corsa race, so it's kind of a longer race. It's almost like the GTUs and the GTOs at SCCS and AZRA and also at NEMA, right? Kind of like instead of a time, it's just some more laps. Unlike a sprint race, where the sprints are half the distance of whatever the Corsa is. So man, it was pretty crazy at the start of the Corsa race. Made a fairly good start. The guy that I needed to beat, he had issues at the line, and so I would just put my head down and just was going. I got into probably like fourth lap in, started feeling pretty good. I was chasing one guy, but he was in a different race than me. So I just was, it was one of those things like it was risk versus reward. It was good to have somebody to kind of chase down to just keep my pace. But at the same time, I didn't want to fight with somebody who, at the end of the day, we're not in the same race. But by the fourth lap in, my bike started cutting off when I was leaning over. And it was kind of, at first I didn't even notice it, but it felt weird. But afterwards, it was just kind of like, all right, it happened a few laps. I didn't know what it was at the time, so I just pitted with 4 laps to go. So that was unfortunate. I went from first place to a DNF in my race on Saturday. So I wasn't happy about that, man. That part was a bit crazy. So and then on Sunday it rained all day on Sunday. And lucky thing, I had the 2015 bike KTM, so I was okay. I was set up for rain tires, and that race, even though the bikes they do feel different, you know what I mean. It's one of the 2015 actually suspension is a little bit harder, but I've had more seat time on that bike, so it still felt pretty good. So I finished second place in that race, so it wasn't a bad weekend overall. I like the rain, so I don't mind running in the rain. There was some serious puddles though. It was some serious puddles. There was sections where you had to I had to stand the bike up just to go through because it was crazy out there. So the first time at that track, and I like it. I think it's track I'll probably end up going back to, hopefully in the future if if schedule and stuff allows. But and New Orleans is a nice town to hang out in too, man.
I've been there before. Um, so I know you was talking about, or I know we was talking about before going to new tracks, and setting up and stuff like that. So how smooth was that process, knowing that you said you was in a lot of traffic and it was your first time there? Was it smooth setting up? Like, did you get close enough, or like in a good spot that was comfortable, or
Yeah,
the rain?
I reserved a spot.
Okay.
But I didn't know where I was going to be, to the pit entrance or anything, restroom or anything like that. So it was kind of like, I hope I'm, in the right. When I got there, I thought I was going to be further away from the pit, to pit in, pit out rather, but I was actually pretty close to it. It was asphalt, so I couldn't put. I usually for my tent, I usually use spikes. So I had to use some not wire tie, zip ties, and
Uh,
so that was a little bit different, and stuff like that. And I had to use I didn't have. I usually have 5 gallon, Home Depot, Lowe's bucket with me so I can fill it with water. I didn't have that because I thought I was going to be on grass. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't bring that. So that was kind of like I had to use my toolbox as an anchor, use the generator as an anchor and stuff like that. So when that started raining, I had to essentially break the tent down because the toolbox was getting wet. I put sides up
like,
on my tent, to just protect everything. But then it got pretty windy, and that was, the tent became a parachute and just wanted to take off. So, dude, I was out there in my raincoat, and I got ski pants, right? Because and rain boots because you have to be prepared, right? So, I was dry even though I was getting soaked. But I was out there, taking the sides down and just taking the whole tent down, putting the toolbox in the trailer, putting one bike in the trailer and stuff like that because it got pretty sketchy out. And also there was lightning, and at the tracks, if there's lightning, you got to wait I think a half hour, and it resets every time there's another lightning strike. So it made for I didn't get on. I think we started racing until around 1 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? But just because of weather. And then when it was clear, they still had to clear the track. So they were just using their vehicles to just push the water off the track as much as possible because it was like a pool.
and then, so with that delay, do they shorten your races, or do they move some to the next day?
Well, at this
Knowing how.
point, I wasn't sure what they were going to do. They did combine a couple of races, and they got a bunch of races done on Saturday. So I think they got most of the Corsa races on Saturday. So it was only the sprint races that were left on Sunday, and yeah, so they did get all the races done. I think I don't know. I once my race was done, I packed up and I was out of there. Just because it was just later in the day, and I had a 12-hour drive, right?
That is a long trip.
Yeah, that
But
it was pretty long, man.
I mean, it's all for what we want to experience out there. So it's good that you enjoyed it. At least, like you said, you probably be back, and sure you find another route or a better time to get there to skip all that traffic.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Stressful, stressful in its own mind. So
Yeah, I like I said, it's something that you kind of get used to the traffic, like because you might go 10 trips and there's no traffic, nothing, and there's an accident, or sometimes there's a certain areas in certain towns that there's traffic for whatever reason. You get up to where the traffic is, or the slowest section of the traffic is, and then there's nothing. So it is what it is. But you're right, it is fun, and this is we do it because we love doing it. So the drive is part of it, the experience, being in a new town, sometimes getting lost obviously helps with GPS these days, but trying new food and like I came away, disappointed that I was up front in the Corsa race and then took a DNF, so I got no points, right? And so that's not fun, but that's part of it, right? If it's not me, it's someone else. It's, you know what I'm saying, these things happen, and it's part of it, and no one is walking around, you know, yeah, I got a DNF, you know. So, you know, it is part of it. So, you know, it was on the second round of the series, so, you know, we'll see what September, October looks like, I think. So,
Where's the next round gonna be
uh,
taking?
good question. I think the next round is in Talladega.
Nice.
Yeah. No, I'm going to so many new tracks this year. I was doing the on my way back. I was thinking about all the tracks I've been to, and you know, as you know, I've only started going to more, but like outside of Loudon from 2013 to 2019, that was the only track I went to. So from 2019 till now, I've been to 13 other tracks. You know,
that's my goal. I'm on the way.
yeah,
I
man.
had a
No,
great year last year, so
So yeah, no. So I have to look at that, and like I said, it's, you know, it's a beautiful thing because I get to go and do what I enjoy doing, and, you know, learn a new track, and part of that is fun. You know what I mean? Trying to figure it out, and, you know, it's nice when you get up to speed, and you know, whether you're in the middle of the pack or if you can run up front, you know, it's a good feeling.
yeah, for sure. That is my goal. I don't know what new tracks I'm gonna plan on going to this year, but I'm gonna try to find some local tracks, maybe like Palmer or something like that.
Right.
Some new
Uh,
tracks.
yeah. Palmer is Palmer's a fun track. I've been there once. So it's funny. Palmer and Thompson are the only two tracks that I've only done track days on, and well, they don't race there. Race motorcycles there, so you can only do a track day there. But all other tracks, I've either done a track day or race. Oh, both.
That's what up. It's coming soon.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
almost we
yeah.
just hit spring. About to hit April, and it's about to be game on. Just, the weather's not friendly up here. It's got a little warm, and then we back down in the 30s. Very
Right.
high winds, cold. Feels like winter again, but changing.
No, I definitely feel you there. It's a little bit difficult up north, you know, with the weather situation. So I definitely feel you there. I like to say it's come down south, man. It's not bad.
Eventually, one day.
That's all I can say. Speaking of one day, MotoGP is firing off this weekend, and it is, you know, we said it first. You know, everyone else is saying, you know, it might be the best season ever in MotoGP, and that's only after one race weekend.
There's just so much to look forward to. I mean, it just makes it so exciting. There's
Uh,
just so many different aspects. Like you can see riders improve, new riders to see what they can do, races on new factories, and a lot of people want to see a three-peat,
right.
and it's just, and then it's just we got the sprint, so it's also a full season with an added race, and it's just better bikes. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's so
Right,
exciting.
and you know, like you said about new riders going to factory teams. You know, Furman Aldeguer signed a 2-year deal with no team, but with Ducati, Corsa.
So that was like interesting to me when I'm like, all right, so who was leaving at Ducati? It's gonna be hot. So like it was like I don't know if that's like a statement. I don't know. I mean,
It is
what other pressure do these riders need in GP?
right. You listen, man. Well, I think riding for Ducati in general is pressure, but you're right about, you know, what kind of statement is Ducati trying to make by that, because that's pretty bold, that's pretty clear. I mean, the only person's seat looks to be safe is Pecco,
Oh,
right? I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, Martin hasn't signed yet, so what he's done so far hasn't warranted him a factory contract yet, right? And now Furman, who, I mean, he won 5 races last season. 4 at the end, or 5 at the end in a row. I don't remember. But he got a 2-year deal with the team. And so if I'm Martin, not to mention Bezecchi, not to mention any of the other guys, right? You're right. What kind of statement is Ducati trying to make by this? Because there's two ways to handle it, right? They're gonna step up to the plate like the Gin Antonio did last year, or they're gonna fall apart, right? Some of these riders. So that's I don't know, and it could backfire in Ducati too.
It definitely can. I mean, I don't know. It's just like you said, no team, and I mean, it's good for him, and we seen it coming anyway.
Right. Yeah. And they
But
had to. I mean, if they didn't do it, somebody else would have snatched them up.
yeah,
Right. And they couldn't. They
maybe
wanted him last year, right? They wanted him for this year, but the team he's with wouldn't get them. They wanted too much money for him to get out of his contract. Because Rossi was going to sign. He was going to go be with Rossi's team. So
maybe Ducati's just putting too much pressure on themselves, and like you said, they wanted to snatch him up before someone else did, and now they got to make a decision
yeah.
at the end of the year, which is going to be tough. And I mean, like I said, they have the I don't want to say the best riders, but pretty much the best riders are on Ducati, and you know, it's who do you get rid of?
Right.
So
Right now, if you look at after the first round, I suspect my guy there, number 21, you know what I'm saying, Morbidelli, and it's unfair. I mean, same thing like Bastianini, right? It would be unfair because of injury and so forth. So Morbidelli doesn't have much time. I mean, look, the Gin Antonio saved his career, like 6 rounds? 5 or 6 rounds, maybe 7 rounds last year. At the end of the year, he saved his career, right? So I would say, Morbidelli may have the same time, but I don't think so. I think he has to. I think by the 4th round, he has to be doing something. He has to be in the top 10 by 3 more rounds in.
I was gonna ask, like, knowing that we think like he doesn't have time, like what do we need to see out of him to be like, okay, he's back? Obviously it's not gonna be like podium or top 3, but like, do we need to see him like under 10, not like 15th, or like consistently like 7th or
Yeah.
5th? I don't know.
So it's fair to say the Ducati should be in Q2. So he should be at least jumping into Q2 right away, not from Q1. Like at least I think if he starts doing that, and then I mean, okay, fine. If he gets to Q2 and he's starting 12th, worst case,
Right.
then he got a shot to be top 10.
Yeah, I mean that's what I need to see. Like every time I look to see where he's at, and it's like 18, 20th. Sometimes you don't even see him.
Exactly.
And it's like, what happened? I saw you in practice and all that stuff, but like I said, I know it's due to injury and new bike, and I don't know. It's just maybe his pace just to learn.
Right, and
Or
it could and it could be something going on upstairs too. You know what I'm saying? It's sometimes it's difficult to come back after an injury and so forth and stuff like that. So I've done it, and I know it's like, and I'm not making a living from racing motorcycles. So you know what I'm saying? Many years, as I was talking to one of my nephews over the weekend, and he was commenting about how well I've been doing lately. I was like, yeah, man, because I was in the last place for a long time, for a long time, trying to get the head right and get back into a place after crashing in 2018 and stuff like that. So it sometimes it does take time. For me, this is fun for me, so it's not. I have all the time in the world, so to speak. Where for him, at his level, there's a lot of hungry riders chomping at the bits, right? Not you're talking about Moto 3, Moto 2, you know what I'm saying, MotoGP. So he doesn't have that luxury, and I think he got a lifeline this year And I hope, and I really hope he can sustain, do something with it, because he's a talented rider. When he first got into it in Moto 2, he was ridiculous. In MotoGP, when he first came in, well, he got on the Yamaha in 2019, he was running. You know what I'm saying? And so, we'll see. And that's a long time, right? Since 2019 to not have. I mean, obviously he was injured after that, got the knee surgery and stuff, and it took a while to come back and that type of thing. But so I think at the moment it's him. He could lose his seat. I think Honda has one seat available, right? And I think Yamaha. I don't know if Ren's got a 1-year deal with Yamaha. I think he did, and so Fabio is his contract is up. So if Martin could get frustrated and go to Honda or Yamaha to get a factory seat. I don't know why he would, but he could, right? So it depends what he does. I don't think Bezecchi's going to leave VR46 unless he goes to Pramac or something like that, but I don't think he's going to leave. Unless Rossi goes to Yamaha for bikes next year, okay, right? That's a possibility as well. But you know what I mean? So I don't think Bezecchi's going to go anywhere. DeGen Antonio, he got a 1-year seat as well, so he seems to be doing the right thing already. So if he continues doing what he's doing, he'll probably end up having a seat next year. The Marquez brothers, they're gonna have a seat next year with Grassini. I don't see them. I mean, Marquez would have to be ridiculous, right? To maintain to jump up to Pramac.
Yeah. I mean, that could happen.
So
he's already ridiculous. So
So DeGen Antonio, Morbidelli, probably Bastianini. I mean, he's also doing well, so it's going to be really hard. I mean, Martin's going to have to start winning some races, not just the sprint races. So I mean, Bastianini. I think he would keep his seat, and if not, maybe he would go back to Grassini because he's won with them. If for some reason one of the Marquez brothers, their contracts are up too, right, or whatever. So so I would say obviously Bezecchi, Pecco's safe. I think Bastianini will probably stick with them somewhere, even if he's not in a factory seat. Obviously, the Marquez brothers, I would probably stay in there. I think at the moment is Morbidelli, and then
That's. I mean, yeah, that's all I can. Guess we narrowed it down. I mean, I want to see the Morbidelli of the last race last year, where everyone was surprised where he was running up front.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, he didn't finish, top 3 or whatever, but he, it was good to see him back up there. He got a little spurt. I want to see that out of him and have a good, at least, like you said, getting the Q2. That's a good start, like consistently. And then you can be like, you start saying his name more, put him in the picture. And then if he can do well in the sprint, to get some points and then go from there, But
right.
Than that, for Aldeguer getting signed to Ducati and no team yet, I mean, like you said, most of the riders going to look at themselves like, I think I got this.
Right. But, yeah. And, I mentioned Honda and Yamaha, but there's going to be seats available in KTM and Aprilia too. So, I mean, so those guys I think would have options to even if Ducati doesn't want them. I think, I think Aprilia has a better. I think KTM is bringing people up through their system, so I don't think KTM is going to veer off course too much. I think in worst case, Acosta will move up to Jack's seat and they'll bring somebody else in, type of thing. They'll bring in Celestine Viete, who's in Moto 2 now. Who knows, right? But they've been doing that lately. So it's really the Honda, the Yamaha, and Aprilia that can take some of those Ducati riders, right? Because that's a logical progression. If they've been riding with Ducati on the best machine, they can hopefully bring some sprinkle some seasoning on those
Like
bikes.
Jack did to KTM,
Huh?
a little bit. Like Jack Miller did to KTM, just a little bit.
Exactly. And I feel bad for Jack, right? Because it's a possibility he could lose his seat. For if he doesn't produce either. I mean, he has to produce. Morbidelli has to produce. Gian Antonio has to produce. I, I, Vinales. What do you think about Vinales? I mean, he kind of might have to produce a little bit to save his seat. Too.
Some reason, I say that all the time. Well, since I've been watching about Vinales, and he finds a way. He finds a way to get uh, a couple of podiums, where you be like, okay, that's the Maverick I know.
Right.
But as far as improving to get a better seat or to win more, I don't know.
Right.
But I feel like there's always a way for him to save his season.
Right. Yeah, I think at this point, if he doesn't, I can't see him go anywhere else. I don't think he's not gonna like. If he's not with Aprilia, I don't see him in MotoGP.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he messed the ties up with Yamaha.
Right.
Uh,
And
um,
Honda, I think they're going to be looking at young people. I think the way MotoGP's been lately, you look at all the young riders that are in there now. It literally like there's only a couple of over 30 guys in there.
yeah, like I said, Alicia even said that he's might be done at 35 and he's 34, so
Right.
it's another for his seat. So
Yeah, and he's another guy that has to produce as well because there's a lot of it's hard to it's gonna be hard to keep justifying keeping him keeping him. Right? It's gonna be really hard.
so Aprilia is gonna have to go young soon.
Well, I think they're trying with Raul, and Raul he looked good in the first round. I mean, I know he had issues. I think he had he had that bad start in the main race. But I think he's coming around. He seems to be doing better than Oliveira at the moment, and so. But again, he also has to produce, right? I mean, he's also another guy that's had his moment. So there's a whole bunch of riders that got to produce this year to keep a seat for next season. And at the end of the day, who knows? I mean, the thing is, we already know one guy's coming up from Moto 2, so we already know one person has to leave. And if others decide, Celestine is a possibility to come up as well. I feel bad for Jake Dixon. He's just unfortunate, his accident and stuff like that. But he's another rider that he's also getting to a point where his MotoGP hopes, might be out the window.
Yeah. Man, I just hope that these riders have the same mindset. Do they want to go to MotoGP or they just want to, just continue just to have a contract? But that is definitely, having an accident where it delays you to improve because then you get looked over. They're
Exactly.
like, all right, who else is better fit than this situation?
Right.
And it's just unfortunate. So I feel you on that.
Yeah. So just and dumb luck. So one thing I will say, like everyone, like we already been saying, it's gonna, to quote Nick Harris, is full of drama. And I can't wait. I can't wait for this weekend to see who comes out. We'll see what we're talking about at the end of the weekend in all the categories. You know what I mean? All the categories. The level of riders it's pretty impressive. And I don't know if that leads to because they train together more and it's more organized now, but the level of riders in all three categories is very impressive.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a lot of racing this weekend. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go to sleep until Monday. So we'll see.
Right, exactly. And so before we move to World Superbike, because as you say, it's going to be a busy, crazy weekend. Do you have any predictions of of any of the categories in MotoGP?
Um, well, I always this I seen Jack Miller do good at Portimao, so I want to see Jack Miller finally step it up this weekend. I want to see that energy that he provides. Thriller
Mm-hmm.
Miller. Um, we all know the champ's gonna be around, and
Right.
and Martin, because they're I feel like they're gonna battle again out through the end of the season. But my prediction is I want to see Jack Miller. Um, I think it's time to have Mark Marquez jump up in the mix to surprise people.
Okay. Okay.
Um, and then I say Pecco.
All right. All right.
My top three.
I'll,
But for the sprint, Jorge Martin is gonna be in there, and Brad Binder. I
um.
can
Uh,
count on those two.
okay. Okay. That's fair. Um. All right. I will go with. I'm gonna go with Oliveira for the main race,
Okay,
and I'm gonna go with
Trackhouse.
I'm gonna go with Bezecchi for the sprint.
Zeki's a dog.
Yeah, he's quick. He's quick, and he can be quick. He can't be as quick as Martin is on the sprint with where they don't have to worry about their tires. So and he need. Yeah, I think whatever. Hopefully they'll figure out whatever is going on with the 23 bike. But I'm gonna go with those two guys, and it's possible Oliveira could also win the sprint because he's also quick there, and it's home track. Outside of accidents, he's done well. There and won in 2020. I think that was the first year. Yeah, when he won in 2020, I think Fabio won twice and Pecco won twice so far.
That's a thing. Like home tracks mean something to you
Yeah.
personally.
Oh, for sure.
Um, so you know, I know he wants to perform well. So hopefully he pulls it off. And I haven't heard his name as much, obviously because we've been going through, but want to see Trackhouse do good as well.
Exactly, exactly. Listen, it's nice to see the Americans in MotoGP again, for sure. Riders, team, it doesn't matter. Because the U.S. did dominate, MotoGP for a little bit, and so it definitely the riders anyway, maybe not teams. But so it's nice to see, and they're on a good machine, so that's good. You know what I'm saying? And Aprilia's in a position like they're the top three bikes right now, and they're fighting. I think KTM has a little bit more money, so maybe that's why KTM is a little bit further than they are. But the Piaggio group owns them, so they got to reach in the pocket, man, and sort out the Aprilia because I'm a fan of the bikes. I've owned one. And so we'll see what happens. But
Before I watched MotoGP, Aprilia was my dream bike, and now it
now you
still is.
now you want a
So
Panigale.
we'll see, we'll see. But you see how the business going. I don't like to see all the issues with Aprilia go on. Like they just can't figure it out. I just rather them like can't figure it. I don't know. It's just I want to see them improve.
Yeah, and what it seems like with them, at least it's the bike, it's not the riders, and so I think that's why the riders are getting the pass. But it's also got to be very frustrating for the riders as well because they it's I don't know what's better. Like in my case, the few opportunities I get to compare myself to MotoGP riders, it's like, do you want to, have a bad race because of you, or do you want to have a bad race because of your bike, right? It's like, you tend to beat yourself. You think you're more upset when it's the bike. You know what I'm saying? Because, when it's you, it's you, but when it's the bike, it's like you knew you had a chance, right? So,
Yeah.
But anyway. So I gotta assume even like for Quartararo and these guys on the Hondas, and the reason why Marquez left and all that stuff, it's like you want to have a machine that you can do what you need to do with, and put you in a position to be very competitive. So, and I still believe the Aprilias are a top 10 bike. So they have to sort it out.
I heard you mention Fabio. I think he's talking about a Ducati, but the Yamaha is we haven't really spoken about the Fabio Quartararo. So he gives his all every single race. Um, I don't know, like, how do you think he's gonna finish this weekend?
Uh, I think his mind is already made up that he's leaving Yamaha.
Yeah,
I think, you know,
Or
I
to-
yeah, that's the only. I think that's the only spot he. That's the only option he got. I don't know if KTM is going to go, with another rider, and I don't know if. I mean, I assume Quartararo would want a factory seat with Aprilia, right? So, but we'll see. But I think, and I don't. I can't see him going to Honda, right? He might as well stay with Yamaha. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Although, like, unless for some reason the Honda does well this season, if we get a rider finishing, above if the Honda finishes above Yamaha, then maybe, but I don't really see it. So for Quartararo, I think he's either going to stay with Yamaha or try to go to Aprilia. I mean, I don't really see another. I don't see a Ducati seat for him.
It's just like he's he's a championship rider, and just like we really haven't mentioned him, or I think it just has to be the bike because he can win,
he can
and
he can win, and he can win, and
it's just not looking too strong. That's what I meant.
right.
So.
But and you don't know how he's gonna fare when he goes to a different bike because the one thing about the Yamahas the way they turn, and that's what he's used to, and so he's gonna have to learn how to turn the bike differently, and so I don't know if it's going to be an easy transition, but like I said, he's going to stay with Yamaha, or he's going to I could be obviously I'm wrong 50% of the time, but but I don't like I said, I don't, it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense for him to go to Honda unless Honda offered him a boatload of money and that type of thing. But other than that, I think he's going to be one. He like Marquez wants to be on a competitive bike while he's in his prime, so he can try to rack up some titles.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good weekend. Like I said, I don't know if I'm gonna go to sleep, but
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, man, and let's get into World Superbike because that's going on this weekend as well. I believe they're in Cataluna this weekend.
yes, they are.
And I don't even know where to start with that. You tell me, man. What do you think? I mean, who has to come out on top this weekend in World Superbike?
Who has to come out on top is Álvaro Bautista, and he just got to show that he's still number one. I mean,
I agree
he
with you.
was on the podium last race, but he also crashed out.
Yep.
One.
Yep.
I mean, he did actually finish the race, but he didn't finish top. But
Right.
I think Álvaro Bautista definitely.
Yeah.
And we all talk about Top Rock. Top Rock, if he wants to win, again, he's gonna have to put a good weekend as well.
Right. Yeah, I completely agree. Alvaro had, because of the outing he had and how his teammate did and how other riders did, even though he won the second race, he has to come out with a dominant force to say, "Look, I'm still here."
Like the weight doesn't matter.
Yep.
Like I'm still here.
I'm still here because you can smell blood in the water quick. So any sign of weakness, these other riders they coming. Yeah, they're already coming if there's no weakness. And so what I'm saying, he needs to he just needs to have a clean weekend. Now last time around he won all three races. So we'll see what happens. But I think he's the guy that has something to say this weekend. I think Top Rock gets a pass because he's on the BMW and he's not expected. He's already exceeding expectations. Obviously, his expectation is to win world titles, not to, you know what I'm saying? But he's also changing bikes. The bike is still a work in progress type of bike. It's not, it's obviously a lot better, but it's still, not there yet. You see Kawasaki, Lowell's on the Kawasaki rode brilliant, was able to do what he did as well. So the Kawi's right there. I think the Yamahas are going to be closer this weekend. So the BMWs, like Yamaha's proven, Kawasaki's proven. They might be having a little trouble right now, and Ducati's just being proven, right? I mean, they're starting to, you know what I'm saying. So, it's one of those things that BMW is trying to get there. And so they're hoping that, this is the guy that brings them to the mountaintop. And I think he's hoping the same thing. I do believe that they're on the best BMW made to date. So that's great. But we'll see, man. We'll see. I mean, Top Rock can run fairly well at Portimao. So, I mean, he does have a chance.
Well, like you said, there's there's blood in the water because Bautista, like all year. I mean, I know he's been injured, but been them articles saying about he's injured or his ribs or something like that.
Yep.
That's already throwing shots as a weakness. And like there's riders like Alex Lowe's who had a great start to the year, who I'm sure is like gonna keep that fire going. And then you got Andre Iannone who's hasn't been riding, and he's also had a great start. And so yeah, Bautista has come out with a strong weekend. And I think I agree with you. Top Rock gets a little pass because he's on a new manufacturer, and can't really put that judge on him just yet.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think he's probably the one in the hot seat, not say hot seat, but someone got to show out the most.
Yeah, for sure. Alvaro. Definitely.
Yes.
And yeah, so we're not gonna sleep this weekend. We're gonna be watching a lot of racing, which is listen, I enjoy it, so I'm looking forward to it. There's I think some of the newer riders hopefully will have to do a little something this time around. I think the Gardners of the world. I think Gerloff. I think I don't know what's going on with Redden. But I think if he wants to, I think he will stay in World Superbike regardless of what happens this season. But you want to be on a good team with good. You want to be on a good team, and BMW, they're both the factory team and the satellite team. You know what I mean? Where's he gonna? He doesn't want to be on a satellite Kawasaki. He doesn't want to be on a satellite. Ducati, yeah, for sure. But where else he's gonna go? I mean, Yamaha and the seats at Yamaha. Those I don't. So for Redden, he has to do well enough to stay with BMW. And I think Gerloff as well. These guys, so they're gonna have to. And if Top Rock is in the top 4, these guys better be in the top 8.
And so I mean, I'm pretty, like you said, a good team. I'm sure they're all good teams, but like, what do you think the team is missing for that rider?
Money,
like money, data,
money. Techs. You know what I'm saying? It's to get the best people in in World Superbike, you're gonna have to pay money for that, right? And other teams that can have those riders. So I think if you have the money to buy all the parts that are available, like the factory teams, I think Yamaha you can. I think you can pretty much get everything you need. But then sometimes these guys are manufacturing certain parts. They got machinists and all type of people making parts for them. So you know what I'm saying, they don't. You know what I mean. So I think it's the whole team, right? Having the right people, the right machinists, the right data guy. You know what I'm saying, the right suspension guy or person. You know what I mean, the engine person. You know what I'm saying.
I mean, they got the good rider. That's one good step.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I was just thinking hypothetically, like, I'm sure like there's no bad team. They're all good team. You want to go to a better team, but like,
Right.
I
Well, no,
mean,
they are.
what?
No, no, no. Don't get me wrong. They are bad teams. They're probably some arrogant owners and crew chiefs that are assholes and you know what I'm saying and stuff like that. A rider messes up, they're not happy about that. The owner's not. They're not like what I'm saying. So trust me. And not only that, the owners that cut riders halfway through seasons and stuff like that. So you know what I'm saying. So they are. I think when you have a business and racing team, racing business, it's unless you're winning, and even when you're winning, it's hard to make money, right? It's hard to turn a profit. You know what I'm saying? When you're paying people and all that stuff, but when it's all said and done, you're usually losing money.
Right.
And that's why hopefully you have sponsors that can kind of offset the cost, right? So, it's for the love, right? You're doing it for the love because you're not going to get rich off of this thing. I think the top factory teams that try all these new parts and try all these new things. I think they make money when they use these parts and put them into production bikes and stuff like that, or production cars when you think about F1. But like, for the most part, it's the love of unless you're trying to get some tax break or something else, say it's usually you're doing it for the love and but some owners, and especially I mean I'm not in their head or whatever the case may be, but some owners like business people are assholes.
No, you're absolutely right. So I mean, there is bad teams and good teams, but I was just saying, generally speaking, like at that level, like you would think that there's, you know,
Yeah, I think the
there's no
team.
team that nobody wants to go to,
Right. Yeah, I
because
think so. No, I think there's that too. Because I think that the teams with the least amount of resources, no rider wants to go to. No good rider wants to go to. Right? If you ain't
Right.
got the right resources to support me so we can run up in the top 10, they don't want that. But if all they have is that and you're a good rider, you can make that team even better, or you can even showcase yourself so you can hopefully get the opportunity to get signed to a better team. That's what kind of usually happen. Like and again, these people get in it for the love. So I don't want to sit here and bash whatever. But not everyone has the right chemistry together. Not every team, you know what I'm saying? So it's really all the right personalities. It could just, what I'm saying? Somebody could know all the right things, you know what I'm saying? But they don't know how to talk to people. And because they can't communicate, it makes the job difficult, even though, they're the best at what they do. And sometimes when they know they're the best at what they do, they also become an asshole.
Yeah, no, we don't need no time for that. So
So it is.
I
No, that
never understood. I don't know why they gotta be that way, but I understand you're losing money.
right.
At the end of the day, so they want things right, but you also want everyone to feel appreciated, I guess, but also perform well. I mean, it's hard to put that combination together.
Exactly. Because the thing is this, like when you're in the trenches, you want the people that can perform the best. When the situation's heightened, you know what I'm saying? When there's chaos happening, you know what I'm saying? You want people who are smooth operators in that moment. You know what I'm saying? And they may not be the nicest person, whatever. But in them situations, that's who you want for the job. And that's what it be like. And that's what it been like. You know what I'm saying? So you have to have a thick skin, right? To deal with that for sure. And I know we're in a world where we're trying to say, no, people don't need to have a thick skin. We should change how we talk to them or whoever. But you do have to, because because you know what I'm saying? That's life. I mean, you have to have a thick skin. So I think if you're not a rider or a person that doesn't have a thick skin, you don't know how to deal with that asshole. But if you have a thick skin, you know how to deal with that. And you can also recognize that it's not personal. You know what I mean? We're trying to do something here.
Too bad they can't just give it 2 weeks and go to another team.
Right.
They
I
have
think I
to
just
ride it
defended
out.
people being assholes, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a hard. It's not for everyone. Chaos is not for everyone, and some people can handle it really well, and others can't. And the people that can't handle it well are usually ones that complain about it. But it's what it is. But the sport is in such a way now that it's very difficult to, most people that race motorcycles don't have a lot of money, so or race a lot, whatever. You know what I mean? You're doing it for the love, so it's very difficult. But I do feel bad for riders that do get on teams, that they can't. They're in their prime, either just because there's just not enough teams or whatever the case, because not everyone is into this stuff, right? They just end up on a bad team, in a bad situation, and we've seen that in basketball and football, where they're in their prime, they're on a losing team, you know what I'm saying? And now, by the time they're out of their prime, it's like now the team is coming together, but they can't do what they used to be able to do,
Yeah, it's unfortunate. But yeah, I want to see another rider that could do well this weekend, Daniel Petrucci.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Nilo. We'll see. No, I think World Superbike is going to be just as incredible to watch. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, there's like 15 guys in World Superbike that can end the season top 5 at the moment. As the season progresses, sure that will change, but at the moment, and there's a lot of Ducatis out there that those riders got a chance.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I ain't going to sleep, and I guess it starts today.
Exactly. Press
Press
conference in a little bit.
I'm not gonna miss this one.
No doubt. So, we believe the prediction for. I was going to ask about the prediction for World Superbike, but Alvaro Batista has to do a three-peat. I can't see that any other way. And there's a whole bunch of riders that's gonna try to say otherwise.
I mean, he at least got to win 2 out of 3. Like I said, there's gonna be a lot of sharks in the water. So I'm predicting that he's gonna be on top at least 2 out of 3.
Okay.
I see Petrucci stepping in the mix again because he's having a pretty solid last year and a good start to this year. And I think Inoni is going to be up there too.
Right.
He's a shock, but I see him up.
No
I'm surprised I'm skipping, what's the name? Nakatelli?
Yeah.
Wait, am I on the right track?
Locatelli. There's Locatelli. There's Bulaga. We didn't talk about
skipping a lot of days, but
and it's not out of disrespect or any. We're not short sighted, but none of that. It's just from the top down. Like these are Bulaga. He's surpassing what people expected. So he can continue doing it. Possible. And maybe, but it's who knows? Maybe he's the real deal. Coming from Moto 2 to Moto. I mean, super. What is it? What are we in? The Super Sport race. Coming from the Super Sport class, right? And and coming up and winning a race already in World Superbike. And so sometimes people struggle a little bit coming from the lower class coming up. And so who knows? I'm not saying he doesn't have the opportunity, because like I said, I mentioned 15 guys probably have the shot of coming up front. So but at the same time, he's still learning. If he's already up to speed, then that's one person that we can say after this weekend that he has a chance for the title. You know what I mean? So and Locatelli as well. I mean, he's running well on that and on the Yamaha. So, but again, they
Nice.
still have to, they still have to show that they can knock the two Pete guy off the charts. And even with the stumble, Alvar is still in a position to say, hey, I'm not going anywhere. You know what I mean? And so he has to prove that, because these guys, they're all trying to get that seat.
And the good thing is, or not good thing, the different thing is this year is like, no matter where you finish, it depends on your lap time where you be placed in the next race. So
Right.
um, shakes things up a little bit. So even if he can be off the podium, but probably have the fastest lap, and then it just gives an advantage for the next race. So as long as he pulls it out, I think Albert got it.
No doubt. It's gonna be
It's
exciting
a nice
time.
windy track where
Yes, man. It's gonna be
and so
exciting.
that
This second.
I said it's a nice flowing roller coaster windy track. Maybe his size. I mean, no more weights in, but maybe his size help him pull away.
We'll see. I'm looking forward. All right, it's time to say peace out. You want to shout out your sponsors?
Official Vortex and J&G Performance, Hideaway Rentals, and Woodcraft Technology is always giving me support for my racing.
Nice. Shout out to Hamden Yard. Go to HY Boston to get the latest gear. Shout out to Workbench Technology. Go to Workbench Tech if you have any computer issues. I want to shout out Eli Block, one of the persons we sponsor here at B4evaKool in Motor America. We also started to sponsor the series for 2024. So shout out to New England Mini Moto series up in Maine. If this is for young riders looking to get into racing, they're on small bikes, 50cc bikes up to I think 150. So it's definitely, if you're in that area or you're looking to get your kid into racing, look up the New England Mini Moto Series and or reach out to us and we'll get you connected because it's a beautiful thing when there's a place that kids can go learn how to race and get the start to hopefully get to wherever they get. Hopefully for some of these people is MotoGP, it's Motor America, it's wherever. So we're looking forward to that. We're gonna have the series director on, and we're gonna chop it up with him and talk about it some more. So keep it locked. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We can't do it without you. My name is Rex45.
Name is TJ with 2 Wheels and Coffee.
Peace.